Welcome to S Rank Media Club podcast. We're ranking video games. This episode is episode 5, and we're ranking the latest installment of Mortal Kombat from 2021. I'm here with Kudrow and Colton.
Hi.
Yeah,
Yep.
we'll just get right into it. A little plot summary here, and then we'll get into the kind of a scene by scene talk about it, and give you our opinions and thoughts and stuff like that. So from IMDb, MMA fighter Cole Young, accustomed to taking a beating for money, is unaware of his heritage or why Outworld's Emperor Shang Tsung has sent his best warrior, Sub-Zero, an otherworldly cryomancer to hunt Cole down. Fearing for his family's safety, Cole goes in search of Sonya Blade at the direction of Jax, a special forces major who bears the same strange dragon marking Cole was born with. Soon he finds himself at the temple of Lord Raiden, an elder god and protector of Earthrealm, who we know as the god of thunder, or god of lightning, I should say. And he grants Cole sanctuary to those who bear the mark. Here, Cole trains with experienced warriors Liu Kang and Kung Lao and a rogue mercenary Kano as he prepares to stand with Earth's greatest champions against the enemies of Outworld in a high-stakes battle for the universe, Mortal Kombat. Will Cole be pushed hard enough to unlock his arcana, the immense power from within his soul, in time to save not only his family, but to stop Outworld once and for all?
Did they call Scorpion a cryomancer?
Sub-Zero.
Or sorry, Sub-Zero.
Yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah, that's kind of what he is. So
I know, but I never thought about it like that. This makes him even cooler than he was before.
Yeah. Got to give it to it was Warner Brothers who wrote the description, so they got someone that's being paid the big bucks writing that one.
Got that advanced vocabulary.
Yeah, so we open on the scene from it doesn't give a specific time period, but like feudal era.
Yeah, I would say so.
Right, we have a guy who's just just kind of farming his field with his family, and then you see his yellow fringes on his jacket that look kind of scorpion-like. And then you see his wife digging with a little dagger that looks kind of scorpion-like. And then he goes off to get some water from the river. And then his family's back at the farm, and the famed cryomancer, Sub-Zero, from the Lin Kuei show. Is he the Lin Kuei?
Yep, Lin Kuei is Bihan's clan, or Sub-Zero.
Bihan, in this case, who then murders Scorpion's family. And Scorpion hears the screams, runs back, has a fight with Sub-Zero, where Sub-Zero kills him. And he's so upset, he goes down to hell.
Right, and we get a little taste of Scorpion's move set, we'll say, right? With he ties the kunai knife to the rope and kind of swings it around and fights like that. And Hanzo is his name, right? Scorpion's name.
Yep.
He's Japanese, correct?
Yeah, I believe it's.
And then Sub-Zero is Chinese.
Yeah, this was unclear to me before, but yeah, the way they talk in the movie, it seems like that's the case. And I don't know if that was like canon previously. Maybe it was, but this is the first time that's been apparent to me.
Yeah. So then it kind of.
Well, I'd say before we go into the next scene, I would probably make a note. It's like, so before Bihan kills the family, Hanzo's wife takes an infant, hides it below the floorboards, and it survives the fight. Raiden appears on the scene after the fight is done, takes the child, and takes it somewhere safe.
Right, and then that's kind of the beginning scene, and then it goes into the Mortal Kombat across the screen, right?
Yeah. Then we go to modern day, essentially, right?
Yeah, but there's no Mortal Kombat music, so I immediately shut it off.
That's Like, what if they just cut in the exact same intro scene? I would have loved it.
Mortal Kombat. I was waiting for it, but it never came. So.
After Annihilation, they're probably like, oh, maybe we don't bring that back.
Yeah. But yeah, then
But
it
that was
goes
the best
to
part of Annihilation.
right. Then it goes to the current day where we meet Cole, who's that amateur MMA fighter, and he's talking to a woman before a fight, and they're talking about whether he should fight or not. And it doesn't seem like anybody has any faith in him.
No,
Like
he's a
nobody thinks
punching
he's gonna
bag.
win. Right. That's kind of what they say. And then so he goes and he does the fight regardless, and it looks like pretty promising in the beginning. Like he's getting some strikes, but in MMA, if you know, there's you're striking, but then there's also like the wrestling and grappling that happens, and ultimately he gets out grappled by his opponent and taps out and loses. So yeah, and then I think that's pretty much all the important parts of that. It's just kind of a taste of Cole's
Right.
fighting, and then
Yeah, kind of like he's like a washed up fighter, right? Like
right.
that's the
He's nothing special.
Mhm.
Well, his special power is getting his ass kicked. So
Right. And then we get our first taste of kind of the mysterious nature of what's his name? I can never remember his name. Shang Tsung.
Yeah.
It kind of cuts to the outworld, I believe, right?
Yeah, where Sub-Zero's talking to Shang Tsung.
Right, and they're talking about the 10th tournament of Mortal Kombat, which we know as you have to win 10 Mortal
The classic
Kombat
Mortal
tournaments
Kombat story.
yep.
Right. 10 Mortal Kombat tournament wins to take over the realm.
They're definitely
Right.
not reinventing the wheel here.
Yeah, to allow them to invade.
Right.
Right, they got to kill all the heroes.
Yeah, so they have to kill all the champions, and Shang Tsung's like, oh, we need to get rid of Hanzo, and Sub-Zero's like, oh, I already did that like centuries ago or something like that. And he's like, well,
Right.
we don't want to leave this to chance, so go to Earth and kill everybody.
Right, because there's some ancient like, what is it? Ancient
Prophecy.
like legend, yeah, that Shang Tsung's like afraid of. But Sub-Zero he's like, I killed that guy. I'm not afraid of that.
Oh, the whole thing, yeah. What was the whole thing? Like the blood of Hanzo Hasashi
Mhm.
will unite this generation of Earth Realms champions.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So then we kind of cut back to Earth, and Jax. Well, I guess we should have mentioned Jax had shown up to the fight, the MMA fight, and he was kind of just hanging around. And then he kind of talks to Cole, and it's like, oh, like. He gets to see the mark from Cole, and Jack's like, oh, that's our guy. Like, he knows because Jax has the same mark as well. And so they kind of
show you mine, I'll show you yours.
Right. So they kind of part ways, and then they're out, like, Cole and his family are like out eating dinner, and then it starts snowing, and they're like, oh, it's July. Why is it snowing? And then Sub-Zero just comes out of nowhere and starts essentially wreaking havoc. And then Jax shows up in his SUV, his Chevrolet Suburban, and is like, get in the car, we gotta go. It's very like Transformers vibes.
Yeah. Very like superhero movie kind of stuff going on almost.
Like, yeah. Oh yeah, we met you. Yeah, we'll follow you. We'll get in the car. Like what?
I mean, I'd be afraid of the Iceman too, just there.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Well, lesser of evils.
But like when they were driving away, it was just like snowballs hitting the side of the car. I was like, that's not really like intimidating. Like there's just snowballs hitting your car. Like
yeah. I guess the intimidation before was when he dropped all the ice and was beating the shit out of everyone there at the food place. But yeah, because then they go, and then somehow Sub-Zero's already where they're driving to, and then like Jax tells Cole to take his family to Gary, Indiana, and find Sonya Blade, and I guess he gives him an address.
The Crossroads of America.
Yep. Yeah. So then Cole leaves, and then Jax goes to chase after Sub-Zero inside this like factory looking place where Jax gets in a fight with Sub-Zero. And we really see the power of Sub-Zero's ice, where he freezes Jax's arms and breaks them off, and then kind of throws him to the side, and essentially just leaves him there.
Yeah, this is a theme where it's like Sub-Zero's a really terrible assassin.
But I think more so he's just full of his own power. Like he doesn't think Jax could ever harm him. So he's like, I fucked up this guy's arms. I'm done with this.
Well, the whole thing is,
Sub-Zero's a man who's been king assassin for 1,000 years. He doesn't.
Right.
He's not afraid of any of these people. I think that's what they're trying to portray. Now you could argue that's dumb, but I think that's
it's
the
just
idea.
the whole thing is like Shang Tsung specifically says like, I need you to go kill Earth Realm's champions. How many people does Sub-Zero actually kill in the movies? I'm pretty sure the count is 0. Well, I guess technically he kills Scorpion in the beginning. But,
I was gonna say,
but
first kill of the movie.
Well, technically though, he was Bi-Han at that time. He wasn't even Sub-Zero. So Sub-Zero's technical kill count is 0.
Yeah, but back to Colton's point, remember, like, he was talking to Shang Tsung. He's like, yeah, I don't need to, like, do anything.
Yeah,
like, I killed him already. Like, who cares? So he's, already cocky.
Yeah, he's not like, oh, Shang Tsung, yes, I want to do whatever you say. He's kind of like, I'm pretty cool.
Yeah. And, I mean, the writers had to somehow be able to give Jax his metal arms, too. So it's kind of just worked out.
I thought it was a pretty cool scene where he did the arm ice thing. I thought was like terrifyingly gruesome.
Good effects.
I thought so.
No, it's a cool scene. It's just
Sub-Zero. I think if you're gonna, I think if you're making a movie of Mortal Kombat, like if you're trying to, there's gonna be some cheese. I don't think that's avoidable because of literally the idea of the base idea of Mortal Kombat. But anyways. So we have Cole, who's going to find Sonya with his family, who his family just disappears at this point after he jumps over the fence to see Sonya.
Oh, no, he drops them off somewhere.
Does he drop?
They're like a hotel. They're like a motel. And he's like,
okay,
I do this myself.
Flew by me because I know they end up back at home later. But so he goes to see Sonya Blade in like some shitty
trailer
looking,
park.
Yeah. And then Sonya Blade, you meet her, and she's like, "Show me your mark." So he does, and he's like, "Oh, cool, you got the mark." They go inside, and Sonya's got like this hidden bunker in the back of her house. She says, like, we've been following this for 7 years, trying to figure out all this stuff. And Sonya then shows all these pictures of Mortal Kombat things. Like you see Nightwolf and you see Kotal Khan, like in the pictures, like it's like, oh, there's different realms and stuff. And then there's like a picture on the wall, and then there's a picture and it says Mortal Kombat. And Cole's like, what do you mean? They didn't even spell it right? And that was amazing, where he points out that they spelled combat wrong. And then
I just always thought the letter C just doesn't exist in the Mortal Kombat universe.
That's true. So. Yeah. But then we see that the most entertaining character of the movie, Sonya has held captive, and that's Kano. Which we learned from the first movie. He has an Australian accent. Yep. And so Sonya had captured Kano because Kano had killed a previous target who had a dragon stamp. So Kano now had a dragon stamp himself. So then from here, they get attacked by a reptile. It seems like there's like multiple reptiles in the lore. But it's like a very muscular looking fighter fighting like reptile thing that spits acid out of its mouth. Oh, he has a name.
Yeah,
except he never did that. He has this he has this ridiculously powerful acid, yet other than melting like what was it, a chain in his mouth?
Yeah, he didn't actually spray it, right?
Yeah, he took a knife out of himself and put it in his mouth, and it melted.
And then he never uses it in the fight itself.
Right. So they get in a fight with the reptile, and, you know, things go as you'd expect. The reptile's invisible, so they stick a flare in it. And then eventually Sonya does a flip through the air while Cole throws a knife to her and stabs it. And then Kano does this fatality of ripping the heart out. He even says Kano wins, which I feel like is... that line is kind of, depending on which character says it, could be like too cheesy. But with Kano's character, I think the line Kano wins actually fits because he's like a self-obsessed like prick in this movie. So I actually liked that line when he said it. Anyways, once they kill the reptile, they go and Kano's trying to leave. And Kano basically alludes to the fact that he knows where Raiden is, or Raiden's temple. So then Sonya convinces him by falsely claiming to be able to pay him $3 million to take them to the temple. So then they go in a plane because Kano's got a friend who owns a plane. And then they take parachutes, jump out of the plane in the middle of some sort of desert place, and then they start walking towards the temple. Eventually, they get to towards close to the temple, and they see Liu Kang. They don't know it's Liu Kang. Liu Kang comes up, and in a great scene, Kano says, "Don't come any closer," and then Liu Kang just shoots a fireball at him and knocks him over. I think he might call him a bitch too, but then they go. He didn't.
Says
It
some
was
very offensive things. In the
it
whole
was
movie, so.
Kudro's looking like he didn't say that. That's true. He did not.
I remember him saying something. I just don't remember what the line was.
Yeah. So then, basically, they then like, oh, okay, we shouldn't try and kill each other. Let's go to Raiden's temple. So then Liu Kang leads them there, opens a secret door. They get to Raiden's temple. They meet Raiden. And Raiden kind of looks at him and he's like, wow, this is what we have. And Raiden basically says they're all worthless pieces of shit. And
he's not wrong.
Yeah. So then after that, Cole's like, but I got to fight for my family. And then Raiden's like, okay. And then they're like, all right, well, I guess you guys better start training. So from there, do we see Jax here, or do they start training first? I think we see Jax now with his arm.
Jax, yeah,
because they have Jax and they're healing him. Well, basically, they're giving Jax his metal arms.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know if I think it's sort of important since Sonya doesn't have a mark, she's not allowed to train.
Oh, right.
So she gets kind of like pushed to the side and is like, so then that's where she interacts with Jax and like finds Jax.
Can we talk about the Kano lines every time Sonya doesn't have a mark? There's a part where where she goes to train and the Kung Lao's like, you don't have a mark, you can't, and he's like, fucking whoops. And he then before that, when they're back at the trailer and she's like, he says something about I don't have a mark, he's in the background and very quietly he says wah wah. Oh man, fucking Kano.
Those are probably like unscripted too. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of those like remarks are unscripted, where he's just like method acting,
right?
Like, it was totally gets into it.
Yeah, but
he's the best actor of the first Mortal Kombat movie and the remake.
Yeah, probably in the first one. Yeah, I liked Liu Kang in the earlier ones. I think I like most of the actors in this one, but yeah, so they're training, and Shang Tsung tries to invade, come into the temple, but Raiden, he just fucking shows up, and he's like, nah, dude, and he just puts up a magic barrier. So then they're kind of in safety, at least until the tournament, and they're going to train in there and sit in there, and they talk and they train, and Kung Lao and Liu Kang kind of beat up all of them. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, one thing I was going to say is in the Mortal Kombat universe, like the Elder Gods are like some powerful people, but they don't do shit.
Yeah, they don't interfere until they want to.
Right. Like there's all these rules that the Elder Gods put in place, but they don't enforce them. They're like, I don't know.
Well, that's because
I guess they remind me of like kind of like in Greek mythology, like
they're the Elder Gods.
All
they
these rules, right?
Kind of do what they want. Like we made these rules, but
right.
It just makes me almost remind me of like the Pirates of the Caribbean lines. They're more like guidelines than actual rules.
That's true.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So then we got. No, it's all right. You want to talk about the Kano Arcana?
Oh yeah. So then they're sitting at dinner and Kano like asks for an egg roll from Kung Lao, and Liu Kang and Kung Lao like say something in Mandarin
to
each other, and then they just start going in on him, and they're like, "Oh, we got this!" Like they obviously knew what they were doing. They were just trying to kind of egg him on to unlock his Arcana, and Kano is just he he was throwing out every racial slur. Like it was a pretty not bad.
Right, it was
It
very
was funny.
vulgar.
It was funny, but it was
Strange.
like I was 2021. I was like, damn, they
Right.
put that in the movie.
It's like totally Kano's character though. Like that's his
Right.
whole thing is he is this worthless piece of shit.
Right. He's like telling him, he's like, I'm gonna shove that sombrero up your ass. There's some shit like that. Like, oh my god.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then he unlocks his
Arcana.
yeah, and he's got a laser eye, and Kung Lao like deflects it with his hat before anything breaks, and then Kano kind of forgets about it. He's like, oh hell yeah, I got a laser eye. And then
He says he looks at Liu Kang and he says, "Better than fireballs,
Right.
you fucking pussy."
Right.
Oh jeez.
These Aussies this week, man. And the boy in blue and in Mortal Kombat. Yeah, but anyway, then they kind of go back to training, right?
Mm-hmm.
But also it goes back to the Outworld, where he's still trying to plot to figure out how to get rid of these people. And I'm blanking on the guy's name, the speedy guy.
Oh,
Cabal.
Yep.
Cabal is like says something like he knows Kano, and he's like, oh, like he's he's not a good guy. Like he'll do whatever for money.
He'll be a great addition to the team,
right? So then he shows up to the temple and is like, yo, you can make a shit ton of money if you join us. And he's like, okay, what do I have to do? The next thing you know, he breaks the barrier for the rest of the team to move in, and yeah. So then Shang Tsung shows up with his posse, and he's like, kill them all. And then so then they all start fighting, and they're getting their asses whipped. Oh, I guess something much more important prior to this. Cole hasn't unlocked his Arcana. So Raiden's like, just leave, like just get out of here. Like you're a liability if like you can't unlock your Arcana. Right. So then he opens up like a lightning portal, and Cole like gets sent back home and is with his family. That's an important part prior to the fighting beginning.
Right.
Because then when the fighting begins at the temple, also Goro comes and like comes to kill Cole. Even though
that wasn't at the temple. That was when he was still with his family.
Right. But
at the same time, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, in parallel. Yeah. So Goro shows up at the barn or whatever. I don't know where they live. They have a
Middle America.
Yeah, I don't know. To kill Cole, and while everybody else is fighting at the temple, and it was kind of predictable because it was like, oh, obviously the key to Cole's Arcana is his family. Like, once you start touching his family, he'll protect them, and so he's getting the shit beyond. I don't even know how he's alive. Like, Goro was throwing beams at him and pulls, and like, I don't even know.
That's what I said in the beginning. His special power is getting his ass kicked.
Right. And still staying alive. But yeah, so
well, his wife comes, or his girlfriend comes up and hits Goro with the axe.
Yeah.
And then that
Goro,
then
targets him.
Yeah,
her,
her, and then he gets his Arcana moment where he gets his like super armor. Where then, as Kudra was saying, his superpower literally is you beat the shit out of his armor and it charges up his armor.
Right.
Something like that. Because he also has the tonfas, which he has like he seems to have like the blunt stick traditional tonfa. Then he has like a blade. Tonfa.
And I took it as like because when his armor would get punched, it would like glow red, and then it seemed like he would take that energy and shoot it back at him. Like, so to me, that's what I took. But yeah, because right from there, then he has the power then to beat Goro.
Right. So he kills Goro, and then he teleports back to the temple to try and help everybody else. And then they're still losing. And then Shang Tsung gets a hold of Kung Lao and is sucking the soul out of him. And he's like, yells out to Liu Kang. Is like, Liu Kang, and then Liu Kang's like, holy shit, I gotta go. And then Kung Lao dies, but then Raiden is able to teleport everybody out that's still left alive to some like
the in-between space.
world. Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, so everybody's kind of all shooken up from what happened. I guess one thing prior to moving forward, Jax kind of finds some strength, and
when he
able to
lifts
save
the rock off
Sonya.
Sonya,
Yeah,
his arms
able to
become super arms.
right.
Yeah.
So he sees some kind of positive evolvement from Jax, where previously he kind of was like felt bad for himself and was like, I'm useless, even with his new mechanical arms. But
Well, I felt like he almost had like little stick T-Rex
arms, right? That's probably what I thought too.
And then
Kano was making fun of. He was like, do they come in men's sizes or something like that?
And then it's like, oh, I tell you what, it's a good thing apparently his Arcana power was like beefy mechanical arms, because if it was anything else, he'd still be kind of useless.
Yeah. So that's kind of like, I guess, the positive that came out of the interaction. Obviously, Kung Lao died, which is a big hit. But so then they're like trying to regroup and like mourn Kung Lao's death, and Cole
they kind of
like
hatch their final plan. Like,
right.
Let's take
Cole's
it to him.
Comes up with a plan. He's like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna do one-on-ones with the people that you just got beat the shit out of, but we're gonna win this time. And then we'll all take on Sub-Zero. Yeah. And then we'll all attack Sub-Zero at once. So yeah, and then it kind of, there's really not like a transition. It's like he's almost talking about it, and
and then they just go in, and all of a sudden they're fighting all these people, right? So then you get your fight scenes.
Well, I feel like this is also like where this is where it most resembles the game, right? Because like two fighters warp in on a stage, and then they do the fight.
Yeah. Well, actually, another reference to the game, back in the training where Liu Kang's fighting Kano, and he just sweep kicks him repeatedly.
Oh, yep.
Like, I was like, oh my God, this is like when you play somebody who doesn't know how to play and you just continuously sweep kick them. He just gets back up, sweep kick. I thought that was an amazing implementation of like.
And then he jumped. And then he jumped, and then he fell
too early.
Then he sweep kicked him again.
He jumped too early, right? Oh, that was like the perfect implementation of like referencing the game without, because anyways, they warped into their individual fights. Because the first one was Jax fighting the guy with the hammer, who, as a Mortal Kombat character, I don't know who that is. And it's some guy with a hammer. But
Rico.
Yeah,
Rico?
But I don't remember him from any. I don't know, I don't remember him from Mortal Kombat games. Then Liu Kang fights Cabal in the same place where Cole is fighting
Melina,
yeah, and then Sonya goes to fight Kano.
Yep.
So they all basically win. Jax beats the hammer guy. He punches back his hammer, breaks his hammer, uses super punches, explodes his head with a classic Jax fatality. Then you get Sonya, who beats Kano, and she takes his dragon mark and essentially gets her Arcana, which is her like purple thing she kind of shoots. She like throws hearts, I believe, in the game. But then she comes back and actually saves Cole by killing Melina with her Melina with her purple beams, and then Liu Kang kills Cabal by lighting him on fire in a pit of oil with his dragon fire kind of animality thing. Right. So then after they beat all them, at this point they get to the Sub-Zero fight.
Yeah, Sub-Zero appears and is shown that he's abducted Cole's family, right?
Yep.
So then Cole's fighting, and then he's like he's getting the shit beat at him again, essentially. And then he has the kunai that Raiden gave him, and his blood gets on it, which essentially summons Scorpion or Hanzo.
Mm-hmm.
So then it's Scorpion and Cole versus Sub-Zero. And yeah, so it's a pretty cool fight scene. They're in the MMA cage for a little bit, which is kind of cool
Right.
setting. But yeah, so then they end up beating Sub-Zero with, I think it's called the Hellfire move from Scorpion.
Yeah, I don't know what it's called, but yeah, where he lights him, lights him on
It
fire. He
takes
pulls
off
him.
his
Yeah.
mask, breathes
Yeah.
fire on him.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then he thanks Cole for freeing him from his, I don't know, wherever he was trapped from hell.
Right.
Yep.
And tells him to look after the bloodline for me or something like that.
Mhm.
And then Scorpion kind of leaves, which I thought was kind of weird that they didn't talk more, but it's
Mortal
I guess it's
Kombat.
more
What
of
are you gonna
it's Mortal Kombat, right? But yeah, then everybody comes and Shang Tsung arrives, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna have my revenge," and blah blah blah.
And then Raiden fucking sends him back to the Shadow Realm.
Right.
Yep. Oh, but don't forget they ominously foreshadow everyone else's return because they're just Shang Tsung.
Right.
Death is only another portal.
Yeah. Which
Right.
I mean, you got that. What else can you do? You're like, okay, what we need Goro and Sub-Zero back for the next movie.
Right.
Yep. So.
Oh well, then at the end, the one other thing is they talk the guy who used to sign up Cole for fights comes to talk to him, and Cole's like, no, yeah, he's like, I'm done. And then he says, I'm going to Hollywood. And then you're like, oh shit, he's going to get Johnny Cage. So apparently,
the poster,
apparently the second movie is going to start with Cole going to find Johnny Cage.
Yep.
Which is great. So yeah, that's Mortal Kombat then. I had a lot of fun with this movie. I thought all the fight scenes were actually really cool. I liked most of the character design and costume design. Definitely some cheesy stuff, but I don't know. I mean, that's the campiness of Mortal Kombat, I think.
It's a video game movie,
right? It is. Yeah. What did you guys?
I thought it was good. Like you said, I like the fight scenes, and I think special effects and CGI have come a long way since the late 90s.
I love Sub-Zero's ice. I thought his ice was really cool. I thought the Jack scene was the way that he made his arms bleed while they're freezing.
Right.
Oh, gross.
He's ripping his flesh off.
Yeah, when he takes the blood blade when he's fighting Scorpion, when he freezes the blood, that was kind of cool.
Yeah, even where he freezes the barrel of the gun and the bullets shatter.
Yeah,
it's kind of cool.
Yeah, Sub-Zero was a cool villain. He was a big fuck everybody guy.
I like the beginning a lot too, where you kind of got a taste of how Scorpion fights with the kunai and stuff like that. And
I thought it was a very tame intro, kind of to really set it up in a more grounded fight scene, where that kind of, and I liked the subtle look of his he's obviously Scorpion, but it wasn't too extreme. I felt and then the Sub-Zero stuff was kind of a more tame blue outfit. And I enjoyed the cheese of it, and it I was along for the ride, I guess, of the whole thing. Definitely some inconsistencies with things that happen, just the fact that Shang Tsung can fucking teleport anywhere at any time. Sub-Zero's just, oh, you're driving your car away, I'm already here. Why can Sub-Zero do that? But I just think I thought it did a great job of just being a Mortal Kombat movie. Yeah, Kudro, what do you got to say over there?
I don't know. I find myself going back and forth with this because there are
Yeah.
a few things that I would probably ask when I'm talking about the
Sure.
direction of this movie.
Okay, let's go over it.
I mean, first of all, is just Cole's inclusion. Now, I understand what they're going for.
Yeah.
I mean, he's kind of supposed to be the audience surrogate, like,
Yeah.
new to the whole scene.
Yeah.
Cole's figuring out what's going on as the audience is figuring out what's going
Yeah.
on. I
Right.
understand that. But I don't really see if that was completely necessary to introduce a whole new character when we're kind
Sure.
of here to watch Mortal Kombat for the actual Mortal Kombat characters.
Yeah.
So, and what makes it, I feel like, almost even more egregious is when you're talking like, so the whole scene in Sonya and Jax's place of residence
Mhm.
is literally Sonya talking about a lengthy investigation that she did to
Yeah.
figure out exactly what was going on.
Yeah.
So, like, my immediate thought just has to flip over to, okay, instead of that means like Cole didn't even really need to exist because you just literally explained what probably would have been the plot of a better movie right there.
Right.
So
I agree with you. He may not be necessary, but they put him in there, and I don't think he's that bad. You know what I mean? Like, I agree
No.
with you. Maybe he wasn't necessary, but I don't feel like he's okay.
No, I feel like I feel like Cole, like, he's inoffensive. Like, I don't hate him.
Right, but you think
it's just the whole thing is like, I feel like if we were talking about like, as an like, basically my point is that Sonya and Jax could have just as easily played the audience surrogate role,
right,
have their established character, and we see their investigation as they're piecing together what's going on.
Yeah, I think you could have just brought Johnny Cage in this one and had him in there too, in that part as well. Like, I agree.
Yeah.
And also that scene with Sonya, like, it's kind of like bashing you over the head with the like.
Yeah, it's a huge, lengthy exposition. Whereas if you followed them as they were doing the investigation,
and like,
I feel like the movie might have been better paced, and you wouldn't have had these massive exposition dumps.
Yeah, and I would say as a general rule, I hate it when movies do that. But I was just kind of along for this dumb fucking Mortal Kombat ride. Maybe because I already knew the story, it was less effective to me. Because a lot of times, like I'll watch a superhero movie and it does that. I'm like, this is dumb as fuck. But so that's a very fair criticism.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, do you think that maybe they talked to I assume they were correlating with the game developers as well, and he's not in any of the games currently, correct?
Yeah, Cole is Cole's an exclusive character to the movie.
I do wonder if it's like a thing where like he'll go in the next one,
That's what I was like thinking is maybe like they kind of saw it as like a a bonus where it's like, oh, we don't need to.
Yeah, I don't hate Cole so much, but the thing I actually hate about Kudrow Described is the way that they do all the exposition there with Sonya's place. I don't like that.
Right.
But yeah, I think maybe I'm less affected because I already know the Mortal Kombat story so much that it didn't really like phase me as like a scene to take a bunch of stuff in. I liked all the fight scenes though. Like, I thought the fight scenes were pretty good for the most part. I especially like the Sub-Zero and Scorpion fight scenes. The part where Kung Lao kills Natara. Oh, we didn't say anything about Natara. Natara just flies in like a bird of prey and dies instantly.
Just because she's kind of there and she's gone almost immediately.
Yeah, I think because they're like, well, we got to say flawless victory somewhere, and they wanted it to be an actual flawless victory, so they had to kill Natara. And I thought when Kung Lao said flawless victory, it was kind of like, I didn't buy it so much, but
yeah. I mean, they kind of tried to build her up as like some like special like opponent, though. I mean, she appeared in like 2 or 3 scenes prior to her dying, right?
No, they did.
I build her up, but
yeah, that's fine. I guess I just thought like the delivery of the line felt kind of like forced.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
She still wasn't, and Natara still wasn't done as dirty as like Shiva and Annihilation. So
that's true. Or Johnny Cage.
or Johnny Cage.
So
But I feel like my only criticism with the fight scenes, and maybe this is just something where it's like after watching the 3 John Wick films that I just keep paying attention to, is the quick cuts. I don't know if I'm the only one who like really started paying attention to it, but it's like every like couple seconds you notice like the shift, the camera shift or something.
So they can
like
cut scenes. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like they can like do like a couple combat moves, cut, and then
Yeah.
do a couple more and then cut. But then it's like I go back and like, I watch John Wick, and then you have like these minutes long continuous cuts of combat.
Right.
And it's just like after watching that, I have yet to see like an action movie that really compares. And
That's
unfortunately, this one's also the same. It's like all these quick cuts. I mean, like it doesn't really break my engagement with the movie, but it's definitely something that I notice and I wish more studios and action films would do.
Yeah, I think it's a hard thing to do. And also with a movie like this, like with all the CGI they're trying to implement with like the special abilities and stuff. And it's John Wick's trying to get I don't know if I want to call it realism in fighting, but like a more grounded fighting kind, like a.
I'd give you the grounded, except for the fact that we also have like the point where John Wick is gunning down like 100 people at a time.
As opposed to fire demons and guys who summon ice, though.
Completely.
But he uses pencils, so.
I don't know if it's just my like Mortal Kombat nostalgia, like watching Scorpion and Sub-Zero fight. That's like, oh, sick, Scorpion and Sub-Zero. Like, I don't know if that's why, but I kind of I liked it. Like, I liked the fight scenes. I don't know.
I thought it was good.
I was in for all the characters, and I agree with you. There's some plot holes. There's some bad exposition shit that normally I'm like, well, gotta downgrade it for this. But I'm to the point where I'm thinking about we haven't watched all the video game movies, obviously, but out of all the video game movies I've seen to date, this is the best one. And not that that's a high bar, but
wow. No, I mean, I agree with you. This probably is the best video game film. I guess my thing is like, if I still feel like there's a lot to criticize here, even if this was a lot of fun and probably the best one to date. But I'm with flaws that I'm kind of hoping get worked on and fixed with the sequel that's coming.
Yeah,
to this movie.
I hope it turns out well.
I do too.
Kudroy, so you're saying this one is better than Final Fantasy?
Oh, I still need to rewatch The Spirits Within. I keep meaning to do
I think the month's up. I think the month's up. I think you failed that.
No, now that you've reminded me, I'm gonna have to watch it before the next show. So,
oh man.
The one thing I will say about the combat before we move on is the only cringy part to me was when Cole throws the knife to Sonya. I was like,
oh yeah, where she's spinning in the air.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? But yeah, other than that, the combat was good.
Some one-liners. Jax, when he's fighting Scorpion or fighting Sub-Zero, he says, "I've done 6 tours, motherfucker," before he fights him. When Cole's looking at, we already talked about the spelled it wrong. Scorpion, when he comes up out of hell to fight Sub-Zero, he says, I have risen from hell to kill you.
He also says, "Get over here." He says,
"Oh yeah," when he grabs him. Yeah. I felt like that was a well implemented "get over here."
Yeah.
More so than the last movies.
I'd agree with that.
But yeah, do we want to rank it?
Let's do it.
Kudra, do you want to go first?
Sure. I mean, as I feel like this is probably the best one so far. I say B probably. I think this is a solid B.
Yeah.
It still has its flaws. I still think the plot could have really been reworked. But for what it is, it's entertaining enough.
All right. Well,
I guess I'll go. I think, I have to agree. I'm between a B and B+, but I didn't really think about what Kudrow was was talking about, and
Yeah.
now that he pointed out, I'm kind of like, oh, you got a point there.
Yeah.
So I think I gotta go B. this
Yeah,
way.
I also think Kudra has some good points about some of the stuff in this movie, and I think those are true. And I think like a reasonable rating on this is a B or a B plus. However, due to my nostalgia for Mortal Kombat and also the fact that out of every video game movie I've ever seen, this is the best one, I think it deserves an A. Now, in the future, in 5 years in the future,
Ooh,
5 years in the future, when 10 more video game movies have come out and say there's some good ones, then maybe this would drop back down to a B plus. But until
you mean
somebody
Sonic
shows
3?
until somebody shows me something better, I think I gotta give this thing as top of the field in video game movies. And I like Mortal Kombat. I love the Scorpion Sub-Zero fights. I gotta give it an A, just barely. I think a reasonable rating is a B or a B plus. I think it's an I think it's a slightly just. I just want to tinge it up to an A.
You're trying to pad the stats. You're trying to pad the stats of Mortal Kombat here.
No,
I guess.
well, I don't actually. It wouldn't even pad the stats because it's still average out a little lower. But I just think because I've seen so many bad video game movies over the years, I think like seeing this as a video game movie, I'm like, okay, I like this. I like everything it's doing. I'm happy it's going in this direction. I think it's an A for me.
That's fair.
Yeah. So we can go into our overall ratings now. Get our list up here. All right. So I think we can safely say, as we've already said, it's better than the movies we have watched previously here. So, and you guys are thinking B or B plus, and like I already said, I think I agree with you guys. A reasonable rating for this movie is in the B plus tier. Now, as a video game movie, though, I would argue it should go in the A tier because of the general quality of video game movies.
I feel like an A compared to other video game movies versus just being an A, like I feel like that's kind of an injustice.
So you think it should be a B, Kudrow, in the B tier?
Yeah.
Okay,
personally.
so okay. I think you're right then. Maybe we should show video game movies for what they are and have no movies above the B tier for video game movies.
Oh, okay, hold on. I feel like there has to be one. There will eventually be a video game in the A tier. I don't think we'll ever find one in the S, but I think we'll at least have one in the A.
All right, so
we gotta
we're
wait
gonna
for the new Mario movie to come out.
I guess I can agree with you. Mortal Kombat will be in the B tier. Currently, our highest rated video game movie. All right, Mortal Kombat in the B tier.